like a mixed blood, but if they real dark skin or black looking, it's like a disrespect. So basically, I've already heard what you said, so I'm like, damn, it's like that down?
Yeah.
It's very bad because the Hispanic girls who are dark skinned don't consider themselves black. They have a big issue concerning because when they look at a black person, they don't want to be considered as Black American or Black African, so they're not black. And 90% of that situation you'll find with Dominicans. How dark skinned they're not black. And then their birth certificate will reflect white.
Wow.
If you look at a lot of most wanted places or those kids who have been lost here in South Florida, nappy-headed, dark-skinned, and then you see the name, Spanish name, and then race, white. And you're like, okay, how did this happen?
Because white folks are
because they don't want. No, exactly. South Florida is just a whole. It's not a place for black folk, especially if you're a professional. Is you need to get the stuff out of here because here they're not trying to hear the truth.
They're not.
And other black folks who don't have nothing, is best get an education and get the hell out of the state, realistically. Because if you're a professional, you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to be like, oh, my God, I went to this place, and everybody's doing fine.
Have nothing, though, because white people have always done stuff like that. They bring their industry, they bring their money, they bring their beauty standard and their ideal, and then they usually suppress our people or weed them out unless you want to come be like a service worker or something, serve them sandwiches and shit.
Exactly.
So, but I'm saying if you keep leaving, if we leave everywhere, we ain't gonna never have nothing. I mean, one thing I can say about the Asians and the Mexicans and the Latins, when they come over here, they do stick together, and even if they do have to wash dishes, they all will get in the same house. They will save their money up. So we do need to learn from them. And, yes, we're still dealing with racism and discrimination, and they pit white Latins against black Latins, and usually they have more political clout, but they stick together and help us out. So it's like we have to stop saying, well, we're just going to leave here since they don't want us here. It's like, what are we going to do?
Well, then people have to, and I have to cut you off, Alexyss, but they have to go back and really study the kind of mind play that's going on, or mind game. For example, I used to work at a hospital one time, and it was me, two, African-American girls there, and a Hispanic and a couple of whites would just sit there. Each time we go to lunch, they make sure that we don't go to lunch together. So finally one day, I said, you know what, I'm going to come in late, and I'm going to come around your lunchtime. They can't tell me nothing because my shift started about an hour later, so I'll go to lunch with you so we can sit there talking. So we're sitting there talking, and then I have to go use the bathroom. Both were behind the door listening to our conversation.
What, white?
Yeah, white and Hispanic girl.
Because
in the workplace. So because they probably think we're talking about, and we had nothing to do with them.
Do the white girls, the Hispanic girls, they rather hang out with the white girls and consider themselves white.
And dye their hair blonde. That's like a lot of things going on down here. Dyeing their hair blonde, and sometimes wear contacts, and then sometimes change their name.
Yes.
To fit a white type of looking name.
And
then they ask, or get with a white man.
Oh, black baby, they're going to be looking crazy.
What?
Huh?
When they end up getting with a white man and having an old yellow chocolate-looking baby, they're going to be looking crazy.
Like they don't know what's going on.
Exactly, but to them, that baby is white. That baby can't be black. That's how it's going to grow up thinking. That's what I'm saying. The mind play that's going on is we have to sit there and say, you know what, this is not right. This is where the division is. But until then, it's going to still be like, okay, we have to get out of this state. We have to do this in order for our own survival. Like, we don't want to get up and leave things because we've never been, black folks in general will, stick it out. But it gets to a point whereas when you look at the state of Florida, if in 10 years from now they're going to do a census or anything to find out how many degrees and who was moving up, the only people that you're going to see on the top 10 list will be Hispanics. Because black folks are not getting jobs because in Miami you got to speak Spanish. That's a way of discrimination, but they're not putting it as discrimination because I once filed discrimination and the paper came back and said they didn't find any discrimination. It was both Hispanic names up in the EEOC office.
Wow.
So it's just like a catch-22. Like, what do you do? Do you stay and not do anything, or do you leave and find something better? Because you're not going to get it here. Everything is Spanish.
But it's not just there. It has happened everywhere. It happens here. It happens everywhere. I hear this story all the time in different places, and I still see it. If we keep running and saying, let's go here where there's better opportunity, how much can you run? I mean, if our people don't stick together and create our own political, socioeconomic base, you're going to always have that problem. This is what these people are doing. They're sticking together on a political and a socioeconomic basis. That's what all of these groups are doing. We need to learn from them and follow their pattern.
But when black folks do that, it's automatically a black power movement.
So,
you know, they're plotting against you. They're doing this in actuality. You're trying to look out for another. And when you tell people about looking out for another, yeah, go ahead.
So what do you do? Because you still, when it comes down to it, if you do not look out for your own, you see very clearly, and history has shown this, they are not going to look out for our people. So if you keep running instead of establishing roots, and if our people as a whole or large pockets do not do the same thing these other races are doing, we're lost. We're doomed.
Yeah, and that's the case of South Florida, because South Florida majority of
it ain't just there.
My point is to open businesses. But at the same time, then you're going to have to do a whole banking situation where you're not getting loans. It's not that simple. When somebody get up and leave, it is not that simple, because here in South Florida, I mean, what happened with the whole loan situation back in 2008, here in South Florida, where I live at, it's just like 4, 5, 6 homes back-to-back owned by one person being greedy, Hispanic, and they had nothing to do with owning none of these homes just to show off. Now they all they don't know what to do. They're about to lose their home. But would the black folks be able to get qualified like that and be able to do it? No. Here I see it realistically. I mean, when they're going to come down here and do studies, or whoever's working on it, it's not going to be on a positive note. And you have a lot of black folks working. You have a lot of black folks going to school. But going to school and have all this knowledge, when you come out, you cannot go to a bank and ask for a loan.
So you should,
because they're going to be like, they're going to be like,
black people run banks. You shouldn't depend. That's not what I said. As long as you keep on depending on your oppressor, then how do you expect? You think your oppressor going to open up a door for you to be free?
No.
That's not what I said. And these things don't happen overnight. So you sound kind of young. So you're probably younger than me. So when you study the civil rights movement, and when you look when you study all of that, okay, well, how old are you?
32.
Yeah, you sound younger than me and idealistic, or maybe you lose hope too quick. Because these people didn't get this overnight, and you ain't going to get it overnight, and you're not going to change it by yourself, and you're not going to change it by telling everybody you need to damn run. These people control the economy. They control the banks. They control their community, and they control ours because we don't own shit. So instead of just wanting to leave everywhere you go when it gets difficult, I mean, it's common sense. If you don't own the land, you ain't got no say. So wherever else you go, if you don't own that land either, and the black people there won't unite with you, eventually you're going to have to run again. If whoever buy the land up underneath your feet decide that they want to fuck you over or buy you out. So until we wake up and we study these people and we get our own banks, or we have people in positions in banks to greenlight loans for us, and instead of us renting and saying what we can't do, getting together with the few you can and buy some real estate where you own the ground that you stand on, then you're not going to have no control. And that's what these people are smart enough to do. And then make anybody black hate they self. So that when you hate yourself, instead of you focusing on getting power and owning land, and having economic and political power, you trying to get contact. You try not talking about you, but black people in general. They trying to be around white people and live around them, renting shit on land that they own, instead of saying, you know what, I'm not going to feed into this dark-skinned, light-skinned shit, self-hatred shit. I'm going to get my education. I'm going to form alliances with people that are in stock markets, that are in banking, that are in finance, that are in real estate, that are in hotels, that are in clubs, that are in music. We need somebody. These people have people in every industry working for them, and they stick together to weed us niggas out. And that ain't going to never change.
But do you know about the bandwagon movement situation down in South Florida?
No, I don't.
But until then, so what do somebody who is 32, mother of 2, do until then?
Like I said, if you feel the need to leave, leave. But one
it's
person,
it's not the thing is
not going to do it because one Latino
That's exactly
did
what my point is.
And that's the point I just said. This is not going to happen overnight. This is a movement. Them people came over here, and a lot of them did come with nothing. And a lot of them did have opportunities. They did get loans that we didn't get.